there are a lot of really good apps out there, and my Google Calendar app is my best friend. Thank you. Some people might say it controls my life, but I'm going to go with best friend, right? Because my Google Calendar tells me things I need to know the way a friend would. And about a couple years ago, my Google Calendar told me that I can no longer go out 2 nights in a row. So if I'm invited to do something and I check my calendar and I'm like, oh, Wednesday I'm free, because of those color-coded blocks on my Google Calendar, I now know to check Tuesday and Thursday before saying, yes, I can do something on Wednesday. Can't. So, I really love my Google Calendar app. In October of this past year, I was on deadline to turn my memoir into my agent. I had 2 kids playing soccer. And there was an election coming up. So my Google Calendar was like this beautiful array of colors that were all a little too much touching for my liking. But I was managing because I could see it all on the page. In October, I was going to attend 3 concerts. One on a Wednesday night, the next one the following Tuesday night, and the next one the following Thursday night. And thanks to my trusty Google Calendar app, I thought, I can do that. They're spread out nicely. Except Gracie Abrams got sick and pushed her concert by a week. So now I had a concert on Tuesday night and Thursday night of the same week, both in Philadelphia. But thanks to my Google Calendar app, there was that Wednesday in the middle. And I was like, it's going to be okay. It's not what I had planned, but it's going to be okay. Gracie Abrams, my daughter's favorite artist. This was a gift to her. I was going with her. I'm not huge into Gracie Abrams, but I knew, for my daughter, I needed to be there. Then the concert that was supposed to be Thursday that week got moved to Wednesday and moved from Philadelphia to New Jersey. So now I'm looking at these splotches of color next to each other. On one night, I have to drive 4 of us into basically Center City, Philadelphia, go to a concert, come home, work on Wednesday, and then drive me and my husband to New Jersey. And I thought, I can't do this. My trusty app is telling me stop. But that concert that got moved to Wednesday night is by far the most important recording artist in my life. And when I tell you his name, you're not going to know who he is. So before I do, I want you to take a minute and think to yourself, who would be that person you could not miss if they were in what was supposed to be a 90-minute driving radius and turned out to be a 2.5-hour driving radius. So are you thinking of that person? Okay, because if you've never heard of Billy Bragg before, thank you. I can't explain to you Billy Bragg. But if you have heard of Billy Bragg, that is the person that I want all these other people to be thinking about in their own life. And so I could have canceled, right? There was no way I was going to cancel on my daughter. This was her present. I was not going to take that away from her. But when they moved the concert date and venue, they allowed you to cancel for, no penalty. And I thought seriously about it because it was October. And I'd been canvassing, and I'd been writing a memoir, and I'd been driving kids to soccer, and my Google Calendar app said, don't do it. But I actually thought to myself, it might be worse if you don't do it. And so with a splitting migraine on a Wednesday, after being at a concert the night before, my husband and I get into the car. I think he actually drove to New Jersey, and we got there right as the opening act was starting. It was a lovely venue. It just happened to be in New Jersey. And we took our seats, and Billy Bragg took the stage, and he started playing a song, and I lost my shit. And I knew in that moment I was surrounded by people who cared as much as I did about what was happening in this world, And on that Wednesday night in October, they took a break from everything else they needed to be doing. And they sat there and they cried and they sang. And when it comes right down to it, Billy Bragg is the reason I do what I do. I discovered him in 1987. He's how I learned about socialism. He's how I learned about protest songs. He's how I learned to speak up. And after the show that night, I got to go backstage and talk to him about all those things. And twice I cried at him and he let me. And there's no app for that. And the thing he told me on that night in late October 2024 was, if Trump wins, we keep fighting. If Kamala wins, we keep fighting, because that's all any of us can do. Thank you.